in the middle of 15 other things. Sure.
I'd like to call this Monday, March 9th, 2026, regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. Mr. Wayne Mead, Reverend Wayne Mead, would you bless us with the prayer and the pledge of allegiance to the flag? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, it's an honor to be here this evening to offer this invocation as an indication of support for the community, support for you as supervisors and elected leaders, and Mr. Hathaway and your staff as well. Thank you for all you do and your contribution to the community and to the county. It is always a joy when I get to see everyone here working together to make and to push the county forward. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity to bring the invocation to you this evening. Let us pray. Lord, we are grateful and humbled by the opportunities to come before you this evening. Lord, we ask for your continual guidance and blessing through the hands and the direction of the Board of Supervisors and their support folks, as well as Mr. Hathaway and his staff and Dr. Nichols and the staff of the school and all that they represent in our community. So, Lord, we ask for your covering upon this time together this evening. We ask for a peace that passes all understanding. We ask that you give us wisdom as we speak, understanding as we hear, Father, and ears to be open to listen. So we do ask your blessing upon this meeting and this time as we gather together to celebrate all the goodness that you've provided for us as a community, as individuals, and as families. So bless our time together this evening. We ask in Jesus' name, amen. If you would stand with me, if you're able, as we say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Wayne Mead. Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I'm sorry. Need to call the roll first, Ms. Watkins.
Mr. Evelyn?
Here.
Mr. Moyer?
Here.
Ms. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Steers?
Here.
And Ms. Stewart?
Here.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. As the members had a chance to review any deletions, additions, any comments? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Next on the agenda is a statement from the chairman of the Board of Supervisors, which would be me, to discuss the technology overlay district. I guess a lot of you have heard about that. We've gotten a lot of phone calls, text messages and stuff, but I just want to give you a brief summary of where we are. This evening I would like to address a recent article published in a local newspaper titled New Kent Proposes a Data Center Application Process that Omits Public Hearings. I won't mention the newspaper's name nor the reporter's name. I don't feel like we need to give them any advertising. It's what I call fake news. Unfortunately, this headline appears to have caused many residents to believe that the county is not interested in citizen participation when it comes to the potential data center projects. I want to be very clear that is absolutely not the case. It is unfortunate that no one from the newspaper contacted county staff prior to publishing the article. If that had happened, the article could have provided a much more accurate explanation of the process that the county is currently going through. First, I want to make it clear that the county does not currently have any development applications for a data center, absolutely zero. Nor are we working with any property owners regarding a potential data center project at this time. However, data centers are expanding throughout the Commonwealth and across our region, and because of this, it is very likely that at some point New Kent County could receive a proposal for one of these centers. Under our current zoning ordinance, a data center would be required to obtain a conditional use permit, which includes public review and public hearings. In an effort to be proactive and better prepared for the possibility of a future application, the Board of Supervisors authorized staff during the April 2025 regular work session to hire a consultant to analyze New Kent County and identify areas where this type of use could potentially be accommodated. Staff also drafted proposed zoning standards and conditions that could help protect the county and surrounding properties. On February 24th, staff presented the consultant's findings and preliminary recommendation to establish a clearer framework for how data centers would be regulated in New Kent County. This included potential standards related to buffers, landscaping, utilities, architectural design, access, and other site considerations. One concept discussed was the possibility of creating an overlay along portions of the Route 33 corridor on specific properties. However, It is very important to understand that this was simply an initial draft and the first conversation in what will be a much longer public process. Several years ago, a developer wanted to build a tactical training facility in District 5. I think some of you know that. After citizens were outraged over the proposal, the Board of Supervisors denied the permit. More recently, a group wanted to purchase McAmee Woods to transfer their men's drug rehab center from Newport News to New Kent County. After the citizens spoke out against the facility, the Board of Supervisors voted to deny the permit. There will be no additional public meetings or formal public hearings on the data center. There will be additional public meetings and formal public hearings on the data center, so please contact your supervisor and voice your opinions. The Board of Supervisors will host a retreat on March 13th, this Friday, and the topic will be heavily discussed. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the citizens' comment period. Has anyone signed up? One or two? Thank you, Cindy. When I call out your name, if you'll please come to the podium, state your name and your address, and you have approximately 3 minutes to speak. First person is Robert Mills.
Mr. Robert Mills, 7080 Satoma Drive, Lenexa, Virginia. Thank you very much for your time. I want to address exactly what you just addressed. I might be a little bit ahead of the game, but I think that's what I wanted to do. Excuse me, I haven't public spoken in almost 30 years. So I find it ironic that data centers, that I was researching them and I was using data centers to research data centers. I just find that ironic. I've been in computer systems. I've retired now all my life. My wife also has been that. That's how we made a living. I think they're necessary. However, there are also many objections that I have to them too, and it needs to be researched carefully. The one that I'm more concerned with right now is not the electricity, which is a whole mess, or the water, which is another thing. I want to address the noise pollution. Noise pollution data center can range significantly based on how the facility is structured, cooling, neighborhood buildings, testing of backup generators. A data center may emit between 50 and 98 decibels, with the biggest noise impact within 400 feet of the facility. I'm sure all of you have probably sat out and listened to the peepers at night, or the whippoorwills, which start their shenanigans in April, and we know when to plant corn by them. But I was sitting out just last night, and I took my decibel meter, and I was recording. And what I recorded was about 42 decibels as a normal sound. The peepers popped it up to about 54 and 61, but that's just normal for them. But that's a sudden noise, not a constant hum. I enjoyed that silence and everything, and I've enjoyed it all my life. I'm a resident in New Kent, born and raised. According to the Center for Hearing and Communication, continued exposure to 7 dBs over time will cause hearing loss, and noise pollution can also contribute to the mental health learning challenge, especially in children. This can be mitigated by required setbacks, which I know y'all had a thing on last month, and I did watch that to see about the TOD. And the normal setbacks. In there, your setbacks were set at 200 feet, I believe, and that was from residential and agricultural. This data centers produce noise that can be heard up to 2 miles from the facility. The noise has significant health implications on wildlife, and the low-frequency noise produces a hum or a drone. If y'all have ever sat out and listened to your air conditioner crank up, that's annoying, but it only stays on longer to cool the house, and it goes right off. This is the air conditioning fan, but that's only for a temporary period of time, not a constant hum. Some of this stuff can be even so heard up to like 3,000 feet from the facility, has been detected. And I believe that before anything is done on this, it should be checked into and looked at it. The recommendation by the Sierra Club, which a little more liberal than I would be, but They say it should be 500 feet minimum, up to a mile of a setback. That's drastic, I know, but 500 feet, I believe, is a good amount of distance that should be looked at. I would suggest that the board would look at this in two ways. Either keep it the way it is and take, if a data center was to come to New Kent, take it on a one-by-one basis and do the variance or whatever and have the citizens' input. Or if the TOD was put in place, maybe we should look at the setbacks at being more than what was previously recommended, a further amount. And also the hedgerow and everything could be like old woods instead of new planted trees and different data barriers. That's all I ask of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Appreciate it. Next on the list is Amy Anderson.
Hi, my name is Amy Andreessen, and I live at 17921 Polish Town Road. My residence is pretty much in the middle of the currently proposed data center area. So I appreciate being able to come here and voice my opinion and just share some information with you. The proposed technology overlay district, as I said, is surrounding my residence. The neighbor across the street, his backyard would butt up to it, and a few doors down would be another one of the areas that would affect us. I'm here tonight to express my opposition to both the development of data centers in New Kent County and to the draft technology overlay district as it is currently proposed. One of the concerns I have seen discussed publicly is the suggestion that only a small number of homeowners would be directly affected by the proposed overlay district. I've seen somewhere where it mentioned 4 homeowners, only 4 homeowners would be affected. Even if it's only 4, that's 4 too many. Even if that number is 4, I must say it again, that's 4 too many. The impact on those families, their property values, their quality of life, and their environment should not be minimized simply because the number is small. Data centers bring significant concerns related to noise, visual impact, water usage, and energy consumption. These facilities are large industrial operations, and once they're built, the impacts are long-term and often irreversible. New Kent County is valued for its rural character, open space, and quality of life. And many residents chose to live here because of that and because of those qualities. My husband and I retired here because of those qualities. I'm also deeply concerned about the large water demand and where that water would come from. We have a well, and I'm concerned about that. And, you know, the importance of protecting our county's existing water resources for us, our current residents, and for our future generations. While I understand the county is attempting to create standards through the draft technology overlay district, I believe the better option is the one already mentioned as possibility, which is not allowing the data centers in New Kent County at all. Protecting our community, our residents, and the character of New Kent County should be the priority. I respectfully urge the board to consider the long-term consequences and to reject the draft technology overlay district and any future proposals that would allow data centers in New Kent County. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next on the list is Susan Powell Proctor. Is it Proctor? How are you? Good.
I'm not as, let me go ahead and say my name. Susan Powell Proctor. I live at 9270 Bailey Lane in Providence Forge. You know where Providence Forge is. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm not as eloquent of speech like the nice people that came before me, but I almost feel like saying ditto to every point. Part of the reason that me and my husband moved out here was we loved the privacy, the getting away from urban areas, not having your neighbors look at you. I mean, depending on where you live, you know, having that privacy. So a lot of us have woods around us, and we like that privacy. And I was just saying that the data centers would change that. And also about jobs. You hear, oh, data centers will bring jobs, but no. Once you get the construction done, My husband works IT, and he was saying you don't need as many people to run it. Now, essentially, the startup, building it, yes, it may provide jobs, but no, it's not a permanent thing, and the amount of people they need goes down. And I just agree with the other two that it's not worth it. I think about the water usage. I don't want our water polluted. I don't want our well water to run dry. When Richmond had that problem with their water system, a lot of New Kent citizens didn't have to worry about that because we have our own well water. We value our well water. We love the quality of the drinking water. I know I'm not alone in this. So that's another reason we wouldn't want data centers. The power usage, I was thinking about that particular bullet point. What do they call it? Ratepayers, people that pay into the power company. And I think no matter what they say, I think we're going to have to pay more money on our bills. And yes, I realize a lot of people's bills went up recently because of the fuel that it takes and work that's been done for Dominion Energy, but I still think it's going to go even higher if we bring data centers here. They're going to try to cut a deal and put it on the people, the mass of people, instead of the companies paying for it, the actual companies that want the data centers. The noise pollution, I was thinking about that too. We got a lot of farmland around here, and I not only wouldn't want noise pollution to affect people, I don't want it to affect the animals that see this area as a sanctuary, not just regular people like us. Anyway, I'm sorry I'm not like I said, the most eloquent speaker, and I'll go ahead and go and sit down, but I appreciate y'all listening. Oh, right on time. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Proctor. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next is Elizabeth Romanko.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Romarenko at 7556 Flowering Magnolia Lane. I'm here tonight to once again express my support for rebuilding New Kent Elementary School and urge the county to find a way to fund this project. Our students, teachers, staff, and families deserve a building that meets today's standards for learning, safety, and health. The reality is that the current building can no longer do that. Its mechanical systems are beyond their useful life, some classrooms have no windows, and parts of the facility no longer meet state code. Like many in this community, I have fond memories of my own elementary school years in that building. Because of that experience, I was initially inclined to support renovation over rebuilding. But after watching the detailed renovation versus rebuild presentation to the school board in October of 2023, which was over 2 years ago, I became convinced that rebuilding is the only realistic and responsible path forward. Every delay in this project carries a real cost. At roughly 5% inflation, each 6-month delay adds about $1.5 million to the price of the project, money that could otherwise be invested directly into our students' futures. At this point, the question is no longer whether this project is needed. The question is, when will we act? I respectfully ask that the county work together to establish a clear plan and timeline to move this project forward. Our students, teachers, staff, and families are counting on us to deliver the school they need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is Colleen Baxter.
Mr. Chair, she's on her way, if you would consider
Oh, okay.
continuing on.
Next is Delvin Greenleaf.
Greenleaf.
I'm sorry, sir.
I'm here I'm at 10155 Tunstall Road, and I'm here because I'm in agriculture. I got 1.5 acres is all I have. And when I talk to the planning people about putting up a pole barn, everybody says it's a great place to be in agriculture because you can do so much. But because I'm on a corner lot, a third to half of my land is set aside for setbacks, and I'm trying to figure out why. Nobody can give me a bona fide reason why I have to have 75 feet on both roads, since I'm on a corner lot. So that Essex Hills Road, they've got a sign on it that it's a private road, it belongs to the association, and it's there for their use and their guest use only. It doesn't even qualify under the definition of a road, but the planning people say it is a road. So I have to stay 75 feet away from it. And I'm trying to figure out, why is that road more important than my neighbor's? 50 feet on my back lot from my neighbor, 25 on my side lot from my neighbor, but that road's more important. A road that is just a glorified driveway is all it is. And the people on it do not want it paved, never want it paved, and they fought to keep it from being paved. And nobody can give me a bona fide answer. Well, the planning people say that you're looking at zoning and stuff now. I would like you to look at corner lots because, you know, we get the short end of the stick. We didn't know that when we bought it. Of course, I was told that by my supervisor, but I didn't know that. How many of you people, when you bought yours, checked out all the zoning on your land before you bought it? I had no idea. And they say it's to keep a agriculture environment. Well, within 2 miles of me, how many houses have been built in the last 30 years that are residential? 500? Maybe more. And there's plenty being built now that are all residential. They're allowed 35 feet from a road. What's the difference? Where, you know, I can understand if it was 5 acres. I'm not even a farm unless you're a minimum of 5 acres. I don't even qualify as a farm status unless you have a minimum of 5 acres. So what's the advantage of being zoned agriculture? And then I say, well, you know, file for a variance. Well, that's another topic. And I won't get into it publicly why I probably would be denied. But I can't build anywhere on my lot except in front of my driveway, in front of my garage doors. And then I have to stay 10 feet off to the house or it's part of the house. The lot, I'm wedged in where I can't do anything and I don't understand why, and nobody can give me a justified reason why I have to be 75 feet from a glorified driveway. It doesn't qualify according to the definition in agriculture and everything. The road has to be adopted, and it's not even a road. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up, and hopefully that you'll look at corner lots and zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Greenleaf. Did Colleen Baxter show up yet? No? Okay, well now I'm going to close the citizens' comment period. Thank you so much. Next is our residency administrators report. We've got who we got? Okay. Philip Frazier. How are you, Philip?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing great.
So I have a couple things for you guys tonight. Obviously, we have a public hearing about a rural rustic road later. But my presentation now is actually more generalized about VDOT's resurfacing program in New Kent County for 2026. So I'm going to approach the board and share some handouts with you guys and then have my presentation on the screens. Ms. Watkins, do I have control over the presentation? Yes, sir. With this? Okay. All right. So last month I came and I spoke to you guys specifically about snow. Thought it was an appropriate topic with all the weather that we had January into February. So now this month I'm talking about VDOT's resurfacing program, which I think is equally due with all of the potholes that we're experiencing since the snow, and now the weather's gotten warmer. So with that, I hope you find this interesting and beneficial. How many lane miles of interstate are in the state of Virginia? A little over 5,000, a little over 82 miles in New Kent. That's about 1.5%. About 192 lane miles in the primary system. That's about 1% to the state, and about half of a percent of the Commonwealth secondary system is in New Kent. So that's about 500 lane miles. What is a lane mile? A lane mile is one travel lane in a single direction. So there's a couple different levels of what we would call maintenance. You have preventative maintenance. This is typically for our thin treatments. This type of application is intended to extend the life of your pavement. This is your slurry seals, single shot of surface treatment or a tar and chip. Latex, which I'll talk a little bit later about. And this is really intended for the type of cracking where there's no structural integrity compromise with the pavement. Really a surface application. Corrective maintenance. This is more specific to the riding surface when it starts to have some integrity issues with the riding surface, so that 1.5 to 2 inches of pavement. As it says, it corrects the surface issues and extends the life of the pavement section. This is really kind of your 1.5 to 2 inch mill and overlay applications that you might be familiar with. Our surface treatment process is also considered corrective maintenance if you do some heavy mechanized patching, so with asphalt in preparation of the surface treatment. Restorative maintenance and reconstruction is really deep pavement section replacement, and this corrects the structural issues within pavement. So you can imagine doing a really, really deep mill and fill, so upwards of 6 to 8 inches, removing that pavement and then replacing it. We see this a lot with concrete pavement. So if you can imagine on 295 and 288, where you have concrete pavement, there's rebar, you have to remove the whole thing and replace it. That would be considered reconstruction. Did I go backwards? Sorry. Okay. So treatment types. This is an asphalt mill operation right here. There are multiple mix designs based on the aggregate size, the use of recycled material, and emulsion rates. This can be used for corrective maintenance, reconstruction, and restorative. What you see right here is a milling machine where it actually removes that top layer of asphalt, turns it into millings, and then sends it up a chute into the back of a dump truck where it can be disposed of. This right here is a asphalt paver. So this is what we use to overlay or to replace that milled out section. You can see in front of the paver, the pavement looks wet. That's because it has a tack applied to it before the asphalt is laid down. And in the front where the asphalt is laying in front of the paver, that is the hopper where a dump truck would come up, it would lift its bed, it would dump into it, and then the asphalt paver actually pushes it across, and then it lays it down in a smooth mat where there's a screed in the back that actually gives it a fine finish, and then it gets rolled with a roller. This right here is a latex modified. It's what we call microsurfacing. It's really like a slurry seal, so an emulsified liquid asphalt with a lot of additives, sand and other kinds of minerals. We apply this on top of a pavement so to extend the life of it. Here you have surface treatment, which we'll talk a little bit later about in more detail with the public hearing. This is liquid asphalt topped with stone, so number 8, number 9 stone, and we use this a lot on our secondary system. So when we say a road's surface is surface treatment, this is typically what we're talking about. It's actually pretty interesting because once you put the tar down, you go forward, but when you're putting the stone down, the truck is actually running backwards. Okay. Here we have another thin treatment, which is a slurry seal. I also put cape seal in there. What a cape seal is actually a surface treatment, so that's tar and chip with a slurry application on top of it, very similar to your driveway sealer, but beefed up a little bit. So how is the resurfacing process administered by the department? First comes route selection. This is when we build a priority list of routes to be resurfaced. This is done via field reviews. at the district level and the residency level. So basically, I have staff within my group that works with our district staff. They go out and they do ride reviews, and they look at the condition of the pavement, make a recommendation of improvements and where it needs to be on the priority list. We also take into account complaints and concerns from citizens that we know we continue to get requests for maintenance. All of those things go into consideration when we're developing our priority list. Then what happens is that gets kind of cross-referenced with condition ratings, which is a semi-automated assessment where we actually collect the condition of the pavement through cameras and other applications to develop a rating, which I'll talk a little bit about, the CCI, the Critical Condition Index. So you take that, that's like the analysis portion with computers and whatnot that gives you that rating, and you cross-reference that with our field reviews. You look at the lane mile targets, which we establish by some CTB guidelines, and then we cross-reference that with the allocated budget that goes to the entire state. So all of that goes into play when we're trying to identify where funding is going to go for resurfacing efforts. Then we develop the contracts, and they are advertised. Most of our resurfacing gets done by contractors. And so as the contracts are being prepped, what we're doing at the residency level is some heavy maintenance. That includes ditching, shoulders, pipe replacement, and patching. You can imagine we don't want brand new asphalt or surface treatment to come down in July, and then residency comes out and replaces a pipe on that same road in August, and now you have a nice patch in the middle of a brand new surfaced road. So we try to do all of that stuff up front, and then the resurfacing occurs. This is a process map. I'm not going to get into detail. It's a lot. Really what it does is it shows how all of the different VDOT sections, environmental, construction, the residency, our central office, we all coexist to deliver the resurfacing program. It's a pretty interesting map, pretty detailed, but if you dig into it, it's kind of interesting to see how we all kind of come together and where we interact with each other. So I talked a little bit about the analysis that gets done along with the field reviews. This is done using software. We are data-driven. They inventory visual conditions. So really what it does, it shows the bad stuff, cracking, rutting, roughness, shoving, and it develops what I call a critical condition index. This software can also manage the history, the pavement design, when it was originally constructed. Was it 6 inches of stone, 6 inches of pavement? Was it 6 and 2? It varies. The construction, when was it constructed? And then the resurfacing history. When was it last resurfaced and with what type of application? It can also help us develop estimates, cost optimized spending, provides predictive analysis, and then it makes treatment recommendations. All of that stuff happens with software. At the end of the day, people make decisions, so we use that. Again, I said we cross-reference it with our experts in the field and our experts in pavement management design and maintenance. I mentioned the Commonwealth Transportation Board briefly. In 2019, they developed something called the Long-Term Sustainable Performance Measures. This outlines a metric plan. Where should our routes, what should our ratings be for certain types of routes? It helps outline a strategic plan for our interstates, primaries, and our secondaries, and it breaks it down to traffic volumes. So this is what the critical condition index looks like. Anything from a 60 and above is considered fair, good, or excellent, and that is what we would call sufficient. Anything below a 60 would be deficient. So what the metrics did when the CTB passed it, it set certain metrics to be sufficient or better on certain types of roads. So the interstate has a sufficiency rating of 82% or better. On the primary system, greater than 3,500 vehicles per day, it's 82% as well. 75% under 3,500. And really where you see a drop is in the secondary system. Above 3,500 vehicle trips per day, again, 82%. Anything below that is considered low volume secondaries, and the sufficiency rating is expected to be 60 or above. So again, that means that our secondary system in the low volume range should be 60% should be sufficient or above, which means it has a 60 rating. This is a dashboard that is open to the public that shows the sufficiency ratings or the metrics and where the department falls on a district-by-district basis. This one is specific to the interstate. So if you see here, the third one to the right is Richmond District. We're about 90% sufficiency in Richmond District. Similar, this is the same map, but for the secondary system, and you can see those percentages go way down. We're about 61% in Richmond District for the secondary, low volume secondary system being sufficient. And then this is specific to Richmond District, and it shows how Richmond District actually meets the metrics for all of our 5 different measured systems, interstate, the 2 primaries, and the 2 secondaries. I cannot break this map down or that dashboard down to New Kent specific. I'd love it if I could. But what I can do, and what anybody in the room can do, is they can pull up the VDOT pavement conditions map. This is specific to 2023. That's what's available to the public. But what you can see there is a color map based on the condition. So green, blue, green, and yellow are all excellent, good, and fair in that order. Anything that is pink or red is considered to be under 60 CCI and would be deficient. So you can get an idea of how New Kent favors. A lot of green, a lot of yellow, some red there too. Okay, so what is everybody probably most interested in? What's happening in New Kent this year? So on the primary system, there's about 3 lane miles that are getting paved. That's plant mix and latex modified. On the secondary system, there's about 21 lane miles that are getting paved. Plant mix, slurry seal, and surface treatment. And that's an estimated contract value of about $1.3 million. Those contracts all have fixed completion dates of November. What routes are being done on the primary system? That's Pocahontas Trail, Route 60, and Courthouse Road, 155. A lot of secondary roads that are all mostly subdivision roads. We'll not call them all out. Last thing I have here is a link. Obviously, your paper copies won't do you a lot of great favors with the links, but you guys do have access to this presentation. It'll take you to that dashboard that I shared a couple snippets of, take you to the CTB resolution that was passed in 2019. We have a site that talks about treatment types. Potholes, like I said from the beginning, we've got a lot of potholes that are occurring after a tough winter. What you can see is when you click on that pothole site, it'll bring you to this page where you can actually submit a work order for potholes. Ms. Pearson, you actually reached out to me about some potholes. This is exactly how folks are able to submit pothole requests. We'll always take it through email or phone call, but this is a great tool for anybody that wants to submit a request for a pothole to be repaired. It gives you a ticket number, and it goes straight to our area headquarters for their processing and scheduling. And then the last thing that gets published every year is the actual resurfacing map. Which routes are being done this year, shows you where they are in status, whether they're started or finished, in process. But that has not been published yet for 2026. So with that, I am done, and I will take any questions about this or anything else.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to say, Mr. Frazier, I believe in backup, so I do both. That
Yes.
and call you.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
How you doing, Mr. Frazier?
Doing great.
I talked with Phil in New Kent residency, but I would just like to follow back up. I would like to get on the list, I know the weather's been bad, some motor grading on our gravel roads in my district. I know we're getting in bad shape. I know you get to them when you can, but I just, for my constituents to let them know. And also, I've had a few calls about 249 between 612 and probably all the way up to Bottoms Bridge, with that new development all coming in there. It's 45, I think, at the circle from 612. That's the section that's 45 right there. Can we get a speed study maybe from 640 or down to 612 on the books? It might need to wait until that subdivision gets built out a little bit more, but I'd just like to get it on your radar. Pomeroy Park there, because there's going to be a fair amount of traffic coming in and out of there. So I've had some concerns from constituents that live along 249 there. We could get that on the list for traffic study.
Sure, good thought. And I think it is, we're getting to the point where it might be time to do a new speed study on 249. I will say you're spot on when you say maybe the development should be finished first. So maybe we should talk offline about whether we want to pull the trigger on that now or wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Traffic volume can make a big difference in congestion, which drives the prevailing speed. So.
Okay. And then on your, when somebody submits something to the pothole webpage, I've had a constituent on a Newtown Road, I think, that submitted something 3 or 4 weeks ago. Again, I know y'all been busy with the weather. Is there any follow-up to that, or just it gets fixed as it's in a queue?
Yeah, so there's technically when someone submits a work order, our expectations is we reach out to the citizen to let them know that we've received it, and then to follow up when it's been completed. I will say we have got a lot of work orders that have come in about potholes. So my superintendent, I guarantee you, is trying to balance. Hey,
Well, when I talked to him, I know he's tied up with potholes. Phil told me that.
He's trying to get after it.
I understand.
And sometimes I'm sure he can slip by not making a phone call back. Sometimes they fill the pothole and they close the work order. But we can definitely work on that.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Frazier, you have on your list Pocahontas Trail and Courthouse Road to be repaved this year. Is Pocahontas Trail, is that from county line to county line?
No, sir. No, sir.
Think so.
It's just segments. It's segments that are being resurfaced. We will provide the contracts, which actually shows the limits, but I did not include that in the presentation.
Okay. And Courthouse Road?
Same thing, just a segment.
You don't know what segment, though?
I did not come with the
okay.
actual
That's
segment.
fine. Okay, I appreciate it. Anybody else have any questions?
I did have a couple of things.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Frazier, we did talk about the potholes on Pine Fork Road near Airport Road. So we talked about it 3 times now. So anyway, that website, you do get notification back. You get confirmation back that it's finished or that they're working on it. So that's great.
Yep.
And you and I also talked about the motorists traveling westbound on 64, getting off at 106, and then turning left to go to the Pilot. And Sheriff Bailey's here, but I know there was some incidents recently where some of my residents think it's the timing of that light. I know you and I have talked about that, and you're going to have it looked into again. I didn't know if Sheriff Bailey had any input on that, but I believe that it was shut down for a while, a couple of times. So if we can prevent that, I'd just like to try.
I know as of last week, we spent about 3 hours out there actually controlling the traffic because there was an issue with the timing or cycling of the light. And apparently from what they advised with the contractor, that something had gotten off cue. So it wasn't, there were trucks that were going further to the right instead of being in the actual lane. So the signal was not actually identifying them as being there. So that was one of the issues that was causing such a delay in getting the traffic cleared from the intersection. It was mainly coming off of the westbound side.
Right. Everything else over there seems to be working fairly well. I did hear that the sign saying "Don't turn left" on red is down now. I hope that won't be too detrimental. But I mean that's common sense. But
we can get that reinstalled. So what he was talking about, I think I've mentioned this before. The camera is similar to like a Ring doorbell where it picks up an area. So we paved that right shoulder to extend the right turn lane. What was happening is a lot of folks, it's a lot of truck traffic coming westbound. They want to make a left on 106 and go to the Pilot and the Loves. And so what happens is when they get the green, they start going, but they're going upgrade. And so it's a slow moving process. And all it takes is one that gets a slow start and takes up a lot of the time that's allocated for that movement. It's maybe a minute. It's not a lot of time, but you're trying to balance the amount of time that the signal actually cycles with all of the different phases. So why we put that right turn lane extension in was to try and provide some of the relief for folks that are going north on 106. But as Sheriff Bailey stated, when you get someone that pushes far to the right and they get out of that window for that Ring doorbell concept, what it does is it does two things. It stops people from being able to use the right shoulder or the right turn lane to go north, but it also it means that it's not picking up that there's a vehicle in the queue trying to make the left. So it sounds like they were able to fix that and rectify some of the delays. But absolutely, if anybody's ever experiencing a delay, you can use this work order system this way too, but you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to push that through to our construction team.
Any other comments? Go ahead, Stuart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just two items. On Holly Fork Road, I did not enter the potholes because there are too many to enter. So I just want to tell you now that there are a lot of potholes on Holly Fork Road that could use some attention. And I understand there's a stop sign that continues to fall down also on Holly Fork Road. I think right now it might be covered in some brush, but that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you for all you guys have done, and also Phil, of course, being close by. One of the things that's been interesting is I had talked about residents and about 64, and the last thing that was going to be done were the walls going up, and that's not true. They're going up now, and so everybody's happy that they're seeing the sound barriers going up, and we appreciate that because that sound of 64 is, I'm sure, it's 60, 70 decibels. So,
thank you. I will say this, Mr. Frazier. I had a meeting last week at Station 5, and I took the interstate, which I normally don't do, because I knew what it's like getting off the interstate there at 106, and you guys put in another lane on that exit ramp, and that made all the difference in the world. Whoever came up with that was a pretty smart guy. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'll see you in a bit.
All right. Thank you so much. Everybody okay? Next on the agenda is Thrive Virginia Annual Update and FY27 Budget Request. Ms. Kate Ferris, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be formal, sorry. Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you tonight about Thrive Virginia. I have the unique pleasure of being not only a business owner and taxpayer of New Kent County, but also this year the president of the board for Thrive Virginia. I'm joined tonight by our CEO, Ms. Gillian Barney, and our COO, Mr. Chris Napier. Thrive Virginia is the designated community action agency for New Kent County. And the purpose of this type of agency is to provide direct services and empower low-income individuals and families to achieve economic stability. Many of the clients that we serve face very serious challenges that require professional help and intervention to solve. Clients in domestic violence situations or those living in poverty need real-world assistance, and that's what we do. We provide that hands-on, real-world assistance. So how do we do it? Well, One of the ways we serve is by providing intervention and prevention services for adults and children across several localities. What's the difference between intervention and prevention? Well, intervention is the crisis work. That's the 24-hour crisis services, things like hotel, groceries, gas, transportation, and safety planning for those clients that are in imminent danger. We also provide short-term counseling to set realistic goals to get things in motion. We help with protective orders and with emergency items when those survivors have fled with only the clothes on their back. We provide trained local advocates when these clients feel most alone and unsure of what comes next. And we also provide long-term case management so we can help them make a plan and get back on track. The prevention part of what we do is like planting seeds in our community to grow a healthier community. So that is services that are a coordinated community effort to make people aware of domestic and sexual violence, to build communities that don't tolerate violence. This includes bullying prevention, bystander intervention, and lessons on active consent for our older high schoolers. We also offer summer camps for the families of the children that are our clients, and that lets us partner with churches, local businesses, and community members to provide a safe, multi-week camp where those kids can build resilience. They have programs like art therapy, they get to go to theme parks, they have time with law enforcement and therapy dogs, and we even have a partnership with Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden, so they can go and just enjoy being kids regardless of the trauma that they have already survived. Thrive Virginia also provides the Healthy Families Program. This is an evidence-based in-home program that works with new babies and their families. We take in referrals and work with those families until the child reaches the age of 5. We partner with departments of health and social services to identify parents that are experiencing stressors like low income, housing instability, substance abuse, or mental health issues. Those parents receive parenting lessons and education on critical topics like health, smoking cessation, nutrition, father involvement, and most importantly, focusing on the child's health and well-being. We use the whole family approach. And what that does is look at everybody in the entire family unit, the kids, the parents, the grandparents, the siblings, anybody that's part of that family unit is part of our whole family approach. This programming means regardless of age, we work to achieve measurable results like higher income, sustainable housing, and self-care. And it works. 60% of the families involved in our whole family approach report that they have seen an increase in household income upon completion of our program. Thrive Virginia is also a proud partner with Virginia Department of Social Services to offer RISE, which stands for Reaching Independence Through Savings and Education. This is a savings program where we are able to match money that our clients are able to save towards their goals, whether that is transportation, housing, small business, whatever their financial goals are. We work with them, and through our counselors, we are able to find matching funds to help them save towards those goals. They work with HUD-certified housing coaches to help their families understand what their options are and to make informed decisions. So I have examples of different things that we've done in New Kent County. I have an example of a mom with a child that we were able to work with to get her back on track. She was able to get to a point where her child was medically assisted in meeting those milestones that they were running behind with. They had in-home visits, well child appointments, and other social supports. And mom, facing questions of her own and not being able to move forward, got counseling from Thrive Virginia and was able to get a tailored plan to set realistic goals. We worked with her whole family coach, worked with her on resume development, mock interviews, and free online classes. And don't you know, she applied for it and got a job with full medical benefits, showing an absolute success story in the things that we do on the ground right here in New Kent County. There's other stories about people in domestic violence. We hold their hands, we work with them to get through this difficult time and make sure that they have both protective orders from law enforcement and day-to-day help to get back on their feet. These are just some examples of how Thrive works in New Kent. Each one of you should have received a copy of a letter of support that was written on behalf of Thrive Virginia from Sheriff Lee Bailey. We appreciate the support of the New Kent Sheriff's Department and their recognition of the important work that we do here in New Kent County. So, I stand here before you today as a citizen of this very community and ask you to consider funding Thrive Virginia. We have not been in New Kent's budget since fiscal year 21. Although New Kent has not funded Thrive in 5 years, we have still continued to serve the people of this community. In fiscal year 25 alone, we provided 1,752 services to 76 individuals in this community. We have served over 150 individuals since New Kent last funded our agency. So I stand before you tonight and say, we're doing the work, and we're helping the people of this community, and we request a $10,000 general operating support grant from the county. For every dollar that New Kent County invests in Thrive Virginia, we are able to leverage approximately $50 in additional funding from state, federal, and private sources. Thrive Virginia's work in New Kent supports neighbors who are already facing very serious challenges. These programs offer more than assistance. They provide a hand up, giving support and tools to people to move forward. And when families are strengthened, our entire community becomes healthier and more resilient. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. West. I appreciate it.
Ferris? It's okay. I still get called
sorry.
Ms. West all the time. It's been 8 years.
I know, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I guess nobody had any questions, okay. All right, next on the agenda is the resolution R-14-26, exception request to additional requirements of the Commerce Corridor Overlay District from Josh McDonald.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good evening, members of the board. For the record, my name is Patrick Silva, Principal Planner here with the county's planning team, and as mentioned, I will be presenting this evening an exception request from the requirements of the Commerce Corridor Overlay District. So the applicant in this request, Mr. McDonald, on behalf of Kimley Horn, is currently working to finalize and submit a site plan proposal to develop 2 warehouse and logistics-oriented buildings, one about 257,000 square feet, located at the corner of Route 33 and New Kent Highway, as seen here, as well as a slightly larger one, a 533,000 square foot building located just down New Kent Highway here. The site itself is located within the Economic Opportunity District, so these buildings in this specific use are able to be developed by right. However, portions of the site, as seen on this sort of pink magenta line cutting through this site exhibit here, are located in the Commerce Corridor Overlay District. Now, pursuant to section or the section of the county code pertaining to the regulations of that overlay district, bay doors are prohibited from facing public rights-of-way, and as such, the applicant is requesting an exception from this restriction to allow those bay doors, which are highlighted in blue on the respective sides of each building on this graphic, to face Route 30 there. Now, I have provided some exhibits here. There is kind of an even though portions of the site were timbered, the applicant has maintained an approximately 55-foot landscape buffer along Route 30 that will work to mitigate some of that screening. So this is kind of looking down Route 30 towards Polish Town Road, whereas this is looking down from the other end to kind of give you a sense of what things look like from the roadway at this point in time. Now, in county staff's consideration of the request, it was found that the requested exception would comply with the findings necessary to grant an exception to the design requirements of the Commerce Corridor Overlay District. Staff did find that the exception request was reasonably necessary due to the significant physical constraints of the site with respect to the presence of both environmental resource protection area. So in this site plan graphic here, these kind of hatched areas, these fingers that run through the site would represent that RPA. As well as the site's widely varied typology, the combination of those factors do significantly work to limit the site's buildable area and does otherwise inhibit the applicant's ability to orient the buildings away from facing any of those rights-of-way in such a way where those bay doors wouldn't be visible. In addition, staff did find that the requested exception would have little to no impact itself on transportation level of service in the area, is compatible with the character of the existing development in the area, would not directly impact adjacent properties, otherwise trigger unnecessary replacement of existing mature landscaping there, or existing improvements as the site is undeveloped right now, and would not otherwise impact public safety. These are all important considerations that need to be found to be true in order to grant such an exception. Finally, to mitigate any lingering visual impacts which may stem from the approval of the exception, and in an effort to best adhere to the spirit of the Commerce Corridor Overlay District regulations, in addition to that maintained landscape buffer highlighted in green on the site here, the applicant has also proposed to provide supplemental landscaping on the interior of the site beyond what would otherwise be required as part of the site plan process. So the applicant would be proposing to plant a combination of Nellie Stevens hollies, giant arborvitaes, as well as Leland cypress that would work to further screen the site from view, especially at these breaks where there would be the entrances and exits into the site. In an effort to kind of make any sight line into the site as screened as possible. So ultimately, staff is recommending approval of the exception request, as did the Planning Commission when they considered the request at their February 17th hearing, with the additional conditions of approval that the applicant adhere to that supplemental landscaping I just spoke to, as well as part of the site plan process that the bay doors themselves be decorated with accenting or some other design feature to make them more aesthetically pleasing and in line with the spirit of the intention behind the Commerce Corridor regulations. With that, I will conclude my presentation. Welcome any questions the board might have for me as staff, and I did also want to take a mention that Mr. Stephen McCrae is here on behalf of the applicant team, Kinley Horn, in case anybody has any questions for the applicant.
Thanks, Josh. Any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Silva, this hasn't been started yet, correct?
No, that we have not received a site plan submission yet. I think the applicant would want to account for any changes that might happen as a result of the exception request being granted, incorporate those into their first submission as part of the site plan.
Okay.
So no site plan has been submitted nor approved.
And the reason they couldn't be in compliance with the overlay district, they would have to alter their site plan, is that?
The reason they're not able to be in compliance is the site does have a kind of varied topography, as well as that presence of the RPA that I mentioned, where it does make it very, very difficult to orient the buildings away from any of these rights of way in such a way where the bay doors won't face any right of way. You know, some of our other districts do have requirements, for example, that bay doors have to be oriented away or screened. The Commerce Corridor regulations are more specific with respect to that they cannot be oriented towards rights of way at all, regardless of screening. So that's what the exception request is. That's why that's required in this case.
And if this was not built and didn't go through with it, they didn't go through with it, then it would be negated at that point. There would be no exception request in.
That's correct. It wouldn't apply to any other site plan proposals. If for some reason this project weren't to move forward, it wouldn't apply to any future submissions for the site.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Stewart?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looking, Mr. Silva, in the cover sheet that we're provided, it said on here that the added conditions of the applicant work to provide supplemental plantings intended to further screen the bay doors and design the bay doors to be more aesthetically pleasing, which I think you said.
Yes, ma'am.
What mechanisms do we have to deal with if that doesn't happen?
That's certainly, again, they would, development of this site would be subject to site plan approval. If the board this evening were to approve the exception request with those conditions attached, that's something that staff would evaluate as part of the proposal at the site plan stage, and site plan approval would not be granted until such time that those conditions are met.
Mr. Chair, follow-up. Once it's built, it's built. So if they don't plant the trees, we can't tell them to pick it up and turn the doors a different way.
As a final certificate of occupancy would not be issued, we do a zoning inspection as part of the site plan process to confirm that various site improvements, including things like landscaping, have been properly installed. We would not issue a final certificate of occupancy until such time that the conditions of the approved site plan have been met.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Ms. Silver.
Yes, sir.
I assume this is going to be some type of distribution?
Yes, a sort of logistics distribution warehousing style use. Yes, sir.
Would they consider maybe along Route 30 doing a 4 to 6 foot berm and then putting vegetation on top of it? Maybe that could help.
I might let the applicant speak to that. Yeah, just so they can hear you online.
Appreciate the consideration, Mr. Chair and the board. That's something that we can certainly look into. You mentioned a berm of some sort. Is that correct?
With landscape on top of it, berm with some of it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. We can certainly look into that. And then I guess, Patrick, is that something we'd coordinate with you all, or okay? I'll let you take it. Yeah.
If the board were to add that as an additional condition of approval, again, that's something we would confirm is being provided as part of the site plan process.
It's just an idea I had.
Mr. Silver, what type products will be in the warehouse?
That is a good question. I'm not sure that the developer has a final end user in mind at this point. A lot of times developers will build building on specs, or build developments like this on spec. We have not been informed who the final end user is and what kind of products they would carry at this time.
So this building is being built to be leased out?
That's my understanding.
Yeah. I would have to default to the developer on that. I know at this point a tenant has not been determined or identified yet, if that's helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I've got,
Yes.
that has sparked another question. Could we end up in a scenario where a tenant could be in this building that could have complied with what's originally zoned for?
There's definitely a wide range of uses that are permitted under the economic opportunity zoning designation. I mean, it's really everything from shopping centers to kind of more light industrial style uses. So conceivably, there's definitely styles of development that might not run into the sort of same design issue, if that answers your question.
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
maybe there's a question for the attorney. I mean, can we put if this thing is not built within a certain amount of years, I assume we can put a time frame on that?
You can do that.
I mean, the reason of the overlay district was to keep the rural character into the, we don't want to have these buildings along our main arteries in the county. So anything we can do to screen them more, I think we really need to. This is the time we have the opportunity to get that done. So that's why any extra screening that can be done, we need to get it done now if we're going to approve this.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
At the Planning Commission, we talked about berm as Mr. Evelyn mentioned, and I like to see that come back as a real good reason to go forward, but not until I would actually see that in some kind of site plan or previous whatever you do before a site plan, to have it that way before I would think about going along with it.
Mr. Chair, so maybe we should go back to the applicant and work on some screening and some time issues and bring it back to us to look at. Mr. Chair.
It sounds great to me. Is he willing to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Just one thing I was thinking about as I looked at this, one of the primary things we're trying to achieve is keeping as much of the existing vegetation as possible. So we can certainly look into adding a berm of some sort. We just, for the sake of the development, the environment and keeping screening really dense, certainly don't want to disturb more than necessary just for the purpose of a berm, but we can look into that, of course. So.
Okay, thank you.
That's only a, Mr. Chair, that's only a 50-foot cut buffer on the road?
Yes, they would be maintaining that the green area seen on this concept image would be 50 feet wide at its most narrow. That's correct.
So to me, I think you got plenty of room to go burn behind that area.
Any other questions? Does anyone want to make a motion? You want to just table it?
Just table it.
Need a motion to table. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to table this item.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart? Aye. Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Next on the agenda is the approval of VDOT Administered Project Administration Agreement.
Greetings, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Amy Inman, the Director of Transportation Development. I'm very pleased to bring to you this evening the VDOT Administered Agreement for the Exit 211 I-64 Diverging Diamond Interchange Project. As you all know, we've been working on this now for a number of years, putting together the funding necessary to fully construct this project. And this is the last step in that funding process. And just a quick reminder for the public out there, the proposed interchange configuration will construct a new 2-lane bridge adjacent to the existing bridge that will carry the Route 106 traffic over I-64 to facilitate the construction of the diverging diamond. We'll also be constructing additional capacity along Route 106 to make it a 4-lane divided roadway. Right now, where we have the roundabout at the fire station, Bucky's Boulevard will be going in there at Land Bay 5, and that will become basically a 4-lane intersection. So the roundabout will be going away, and we will have an intersection built there. So that's going to improve the movement for folks coming out of Bucky's and the anticipated construction and commercial development that will happen just north of Bucky's. So the total project cost is $94 million, and this project agreement will commit our CVTA local funding in an amount of $10 million. When we were here last April, you all authorized or approved a resolution for $20 million that would leverage our Smart Scale application. And at that time, we said we were still going to pursue other funding to lower that amount, and we were successful in doing so. So we recently, just last Friday, we were awarded an additional $10 million of the CVTA regional funding, bringing that amount to $28.3 million. In addition, we have the Transportation Partnership Opportunity Fund money that was allocated by Governor Youngkin. That funding is a discretionary fund that may be used by the governor for economic development purposes. We also have the $18.2 million from Smart Scale that we were awarded, as well as $17.5 million that's being contributed by Bucky's. As you will recall, we originally had Bucky's constructing an interim improvement and advancing their construction of Bucky's, but after further consideration, they took the business decision to hold off on constructing their Bucky's until the full diverging diamond interchange is constructed. We felt like that was a really good move on their part, and we think this will help the project to move along very swiftly. VDOT is advancing already with the design and the procurement process. They will be going out and doing everything they need to do for their developing the project, doing the additional design and engineering, and we expect that the CTB would take action on March of next year to award the contract. And they will swiftly go into further design and then building the project. And it's currently scheduled to be complete by September of 2029, at which we understand Buc-ee's will be in a position to go ahead and construct and open. So we're very excited about this. We're extremely grateful for our partnership with VDOT and with the Commonwealth, with our partners at the CVTA, the Central Virginia Transportation Authority, and everything that's gone into making this project a reality. Bringing together $94 million in a couple of years has been, I think, a great team effort. I think Team Norfolk, Team New Kent has absolutely shown up, and you know, I think we're very grateful for everybody's participation in that. So before you is the project agreement, and again, this is the last piece of fully funding this project. Be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Inman. Appreciate it. Any comments, Ms. Stewart? Ms. Pearson? No comment?
Just thank you for your continued work on this project.
Ms. Inman, can I clarify one thing? Did you
Sure.
say that Buc-ee's is not even going to start their construction until after the roads? I thought they were going to start maybe a year before the roads.
Well, we're expecting that they will be ready to open up in 2029 when the diverging diamond is complete. That's our understanding.
Okay.
So I don't believe they're going to wait to start the construction.
Right. Okay.
It's our understanding that they're expecting to open when the diverging diamond is complete, which is September of 2029.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the VDOT Administrative Project Administration Agreement for the Exit 211 Interchange Improvement Project number 0064-063-633 UPC 1278338 as presented and in a form approved by the county attorney. I further move to authorize the county administrator to execute this agreement on the behalf of New Kent County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moria. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Thank you.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Can I make one comment? The amount of work that's been done on this over the last 2 years by Ms. Inman and her transportation staff, and of course, Mr. Hathaway and his staff have been unbelievable. You know, we're getting $10 million, not from our part of the CVTA, we're getting it from the regional part, which means the big boys, Chesterfield, Hanover, and Henrico, knew this was a valuable regional project, and that's why we're able to get that $28 million from the CVTA. So I appreciate all their efforts. So thank you.
All right. Thank you for your comments. Next on the agenda is the appropriation of $368,920 for the purchase and installation of an electrical switch gear for the New Kent Middle School. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. As stated before you, you have a request from the schools to appropriate $368,920 for the purchase of an electrical switch gear. This equipment was originally requested in the FY27 capital improvement plan, but since that request was submitted, the schools was informed that there's about a 10 to 12 month lead time on receiving the equipment once it's been ordered. Therefore, they've requested authorization to make the purchase of the electrical switchgear now in this current fiscal year budget so that it can be installed. This is a replacement of a part that has far exceeded its life expectancy. An electric switchgear is a very important component of a building. It regulates electricity and current. It ensures that equipment such as your HVAC systems and other important equipment gets the proper amount of current. As you know, if it doesn't get enough current, it can cause problems, and if it gets too much current, there could also be problems as well. So it is time to replace this equipment, and in order to do that prior to any failures, the schools are asking that it be replaced now.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. Any questions for Mr. Hathaway? I see Dr. Nichols is in the house. Did you want to make any comments, sir? Are you okay? You don't have to.
Good evening. I do want to say there is nothing Mr. Hathaway can't do. I was preparing my switchgear knowledge, which is very limited, and he far exceeded what I'd be able to tell you to do. It will have to be a custom switchgear, so we do have to engineer it. It has to be built and all of those things. It's about a 2 weeks install. You'll know outside of snow days, we're not really closed for 2 weeks often. So we have to sort of thread the needle to make that happen. So I appreciate your consideration. It'll give us a head start. We may be able to get it done this summer, but if not, we'll be ready for the next opportunity. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Any other discussion?
Question, Mr. Chair. I'm assuming we have sufficient funds in the capital fund balance to support this.
Yes, we do.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to appropriate $368,920 from the capital fund balance for the purchase and installation of an electrical switchgear for the New Kent Middle School.
Thank you, Mr. Evelyn. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Next on the agenda is the fiscal year 2027 County Administrator's Budget Presentation. That should probably take 2 minutes. Just kidding. I'll do that. Thank you. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I will actually try to be brief today, being that we do have a retreat coming up on Friday and a pretty lengthy agenda today. Our budget process, as you are aware, each year we do invite a department head to sit on our budget team. So I would like to start by thanking Ms. Lindsay Hurt, our Economic Development Director, who participated on our budget team this year to help us assemble our proposed budget. The FY27 budget totals $266,028,903. A large increase from last year's adopted budget of $136 million. So I am going to explain that and how we got to that number and what is involved in that number. But it's pretty simple. There are two very large capital projects that are included in that number. And a capital budget of over $150 million that makes up this number. $135 million of that capital budget includes the construction of a new courthouse and the construction of a new elementary school to replace the New Kent Elementary School. I do have that in my budget. I am proposing that we proceed with both capital projects. I do believe it is affordable for us. There is a cost. The tax impact of that would require the tax rate to be set at 59 cents per 100. And a little breakdown of that, our current rate is 60 cents. As you know, we went through a reassessment this year, which equalized that rate to 54 cents. and I am proposing a 59-cent rate. So therefore, I am proposing a 5-cent tax increase. Of that 5-cent tax increase, 4 cents of that increase goes directly to covering the debt service that would be involved in moving forward with the two capital projects, the courthouse and the elementary school. 1 cent is proposed to cover our operating costs for FY27. At our budget retreat, we will go through some options of how we can reduce that 5 cents, but my recommendation is a 5-cent increase on our real estate tax rate. As we move through the budget process, again, staff will present options for reducing the 5 cents, but please keep in mind, as we have those discussions, that the value of 1 penny on the tax rate is $631,503. And for budgeting purposes, we use a value of $618,873 after applying a 98% collection rate on our real estate taxes. The proposed budget does not include the public utility budget, which is a separate fund. That budget totals $9,584,704, which is a decrease from this current year's public utilities budget. Revenue summary. This evening, I'm really going to focus on one number, and that's our general fund. That additional $7.3 million that I'm proposing as part of our budget that comes from our general fund. You'll also see, in the way that this table is set up, you'll see how we get to that $266 million. This is a summary of that, broken down by line items, by separate funds. We do show the FY24 totals, the FY25, and this current year, the FY26 totals. We also show with department requests and my recommendation, trying to show the entire picture of how we got to the $266 million number. How is that money proposed to be spent? Capital projects is the lion's share of expenditures of that fund, totaling over $150 million at $151 million. Next is our school budget of $55.7 million, followed by public safety and then our debt service, and it's broken down into the many different functions that the county provides. General fund revenue. As I've mentioned, the proposed budget increases our general fund by $7.3 million. This slide breaks down how we got to that $7.3 million, with $4.3 million being an increase in real estate tax rates, mostly resulting, but not all, from the proposed 5% tax rate. 5-cent tax rate. Of the $4.3 million in new real estate revenue, the 5 cents will generate $3,094,365. There is another $1.2 million of additional revenue anticipated, and that just comes from growth. New homes, new properties being improved over the last year. I will tell you that this number is lower than in previous years, and it is an indication that growth is slowing in New Kent County. The annual census data that shows the growth over the previous years and since the adoption of the last census is scheduled to come out on April 15th. Historically, we've been number one for the past 5 years, and I would not be surprised if we lose that number one ranking, which is as designed. Back in 2022, we made some revisions to our code to have better control over growth, and those provisions are working. No increase is proposed to our current personal property tax rate, but growth will generate an additional $854,012. I would like to state that of the 19 localities that make up the Richmond metropolitan area, the Middle Peninsula, and the Peninsula regions, all of the regions that we're a part of and that surround us, there are only 2 other localities that have a lower vehicle tax than New Kent County. And the only reason those 2 localities are lower is because they receive a significant amount of personal property tax from boats, and that's Gloucester and Middlesex. And we know that they have numerous marinas there that generates a lot of revenue. So we have an extremely low vehicle personal property tax at $3.10 per 100. And going back to the real estate rate as well, even with the proposed 59-cent real estate rate, out of those 19 localities that surround us, there are only 4 other localities that would have lower rates than New Kent County. So something to be proud of. We have very strong services, high quality services, and we are able to offer that at low tax rates. I will also say, bring to your attention community development fees. You can see we're projecting a reduction in our fees next year. That is another indicator of the slowing down of our population growth in the county and the slowing down of development in the county. I do want to bring to your attention to, we do have, which I'll talk about in a few more slides, $2.1 million, almost $2.2 million in new revenues that we're proposing to be associated with new positions for the Sheriff's Office. And we'll go over his request, the Sheriff's Office request, in a few slides. You'll see reduction in Colonial Downs transfer, and that's actually a negative of $1 million. Several years ago, we decided to appropriate about $1.5 million in Colonial Downs funding to our operation funds. We also adopted a policy that stated within 3 years we would remove those funds and move those Colonial Downs funds back to our capital funds. It is our policy that funding received from historic horse racing and Colonial Downs be focused on capital expenditures, one-time expenditures. So I am proposing to back out $1 million of that 1.5 that would leave us with $500,000 of Colonial Downs funds towards operating this year, and hopefully in next fiscal year we can back that $500,000 out so that we can say that all revenue from Colonial Downs goes towards one-time expenditures. Now, this slide shows how we propose to, or how I am recommending that $7.3 million be spent. Debt service for the capital projects needed to fund the capital projects will total $2.4 million, just over $2.4 million. New sheriff positions, it's 10 full-time positions, 1 part-time positions. along with the associated equipment such as vehicle and gear and training, is estimated to cost just under $2.2 million. Employee compensation and benefits. This is your health insurance. I am proposing a 2% cost of living increase and a health insurance premium holiday, as we did this year, for next year. The total cost, and I'll break that down a little further in the next slide, is $978,000. Public safety overtime expenditures, and this is not a new initiative for us. This is simply tracking the historic expenditures of overtime in our public safety offices, where we have historically overspent in those budget line items. This is an attempt to avoid that next year, and I'm proposing that $685,000 goes towards overtime, and that's really just to match our current overtime expenditures. The next one is cybersecurity, software and equipment upgrades. It's a lot of money, $245,000 proposed for that, but I can tell you it's even more money if we suffer a ransom attack or issues with our current network system, as we've had scares in the past, but we've been fortunate. Buildings and ground, there's a proposed increase of $303,000. This is not just buildings and grounds, it's also refuse collections. Our costs for our refuse sites, to service our refuse sites, are increasing. Our recycling costs are increasing. I am proud to say, though, that New Kent County is one of the few localities, again, in that 19-locality region that surrounds us, that does not charge its residents for refuse collections. That is a rare thing and something we should be proud of. But also, with building and grounds, we've taken on some new buildings. A new fire station, a new animal shelter that we have a ribbon cutting for on this coming Friday, the 13th at 3 o'clock. We hope the community can join us. But with those new facilities comes additional costs with maintenance and custodial services, and that is included in this budget. We also have some increases to our transfers for the school's budget, which we'll go into in a lot more detail on our budget retreat on Friday, but I am proposing an additional $500,000 towards the school's budget. CSA, our Children's Services Act, which we refer to as CSA, we are seeing significant increases in that budget. And that's strictly on services to our children. This is a mandated service that we must provide. These funds cover foster care, students that we have to send for special education services. It deals with special services for children and their mandated services. And as our population grows, so is our caseload for CSA growing as well. And the Department of Social Services, that transfer is projected to increase as well as the state deals with their budget issues. They are proposing to reduce the matches that they have historically provided to us. Generally or historically, it's been about an 85% reimbursement for social services expenditures. That 85 will drop to about 77, 78% next fiscal year. Also want to bring to your attention the bottom line, because I think it's worth mentioning. Other expenditure changes. That's your department requests primarily, your operating requests from departments. And once again, our budget team has been very thorough in going line by line, over every department budget, and actually we found $264,000 in savings. These are items that we're proposing not to fund next fiscal year that we're currently funding. Proposed personnel actions, I've mentioned the sheriff requested 10 full-time positions, 1 part-time position. This is a breakdown of that. The annual salary cost would be $983,071. Again, I am proposing, and it has been requested, that this be funded not with tax revenue, but funded with revenues received from the automated speed enforcement activities that we currently have underway on Interstate 64 and at our school zones. Proposed position upgrades. I am not recommending any new positions outside of the sheriff's request, even though I have received 14 new position requests from various departments totaling $1.2 million. It was a tough decision. I believe that many of those positions that were requested are needed, not next fiscal year, but needed this fiscal year. But in order to minimize the impact on our real estate tax rate, I am proposing to not fund any of the new position requests. There are several position upgrades that I am proposing, even though I've received 19 requests for position upgrades totaling $208,000. I am recommending 10 upgrades. And of those 10 upgrades, 8 of those total $53,000. And then there's 2 upgrades that we'll actually receive reimbursements for, and that's totaling $14,700. Employee compensation and benefits. I am proposing, just to keep up with the cost of living, a 2% increase. I'm monitoring other localities as they're in the same process as we are right now in presenting their budgets. It seems like the majority are around 3 to 4%. Recommending increases, but I am proposing a 2% cost of living upgrade. The impact on our general fund is $409,948. Total cost is $489,000, but some of that will be covered through the compensation board and other state revenues. Public safety plan. Last year, the county implemented a public safety plan, a STEP program for our public safety staff. The cost to continue that STEP program is $56,947. Health insurance. We've been advised by our consultants to budget for a 15.6% health insurance increase in our premiums. I'm proposing that we split that 50-50 with our staff, and the cost on our general fund would be $400,943. We believe that we will get a better number when we get our actual number. So this is worst case scenario, and we're hoping for the best. But as soon as we know, hopefully we'll have more information to share with you Friday on actual numbers. I am proposing that
Mr.
we
Hathaway?
can. Yes.
Can I just ask, would you mind, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Asking a
Yes,
question?
go ahead.
So on the health insurance increase, you said that that this is just the 50% of
Yes.
the 15.6%.
Yes.
So we're going to pass 50% on to
To our employees, yes. So
is a 2% COLA going to cover that?
and actually, in some cases, it actually will not. especially for those employees that are on our family plan, which is our most expensive plan, and especially our highest offering of the family plan, because we have two different, actually 3 different options for family plans. So in those cases, it will not. We'll dive a little deeper into that, and we'll have some numbers for you for Friday.
I mean, the health insurance premium helps too,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But
Health insurance premium holiday. This year and in the previous year, we offered a premium holiday during the month of December. It's sort of like a bonus to our employees, where the county picks up the cost for that 1 month, the total cost of all health insurance premiums. But the cost to the county to do that, total cost is $74,000. $61,000 would come from our general fund. A little over $13,000, we would receive reimbursements from the state. We're also anticipating a 9% increase insurance in our liability insurance. That cost is $50,650. Also want to state for our health insurance, we've actually have had a really good year as far as claims for our health insurance. And I'm reading that there's some localities that are budgeting over 20% increases for health insurance. So even though this is a lot, it could have been worse. It could be worse. I will not go over the capital projects because I believe a couple of work sessions ago, I went project by project over each capital project. The important point is that it is $152 million of capital projects being proposed. You do have before you a breakdown of each project. And as I've already stated, the 2 main projects is the courthouse, which is projected at $70 million, and the elementary school, which the schools are projecting at $58 million. I do want to state that for that $70 million number, that also includes the renovation of the existing courthouse so that that can be converted into administration offices. I really see the courthouse project as a 2-for-1 type project, because not only is the courthouse out of space, we're out of space in this administration building. And by building a new courthouse, renovating the existing courthouse, we eliminate the need to, at some point, build a new administration building as well. To fund the capital projects, there are various different funding sources. Proffers are a part of that. We always, and I encourage my departments, and they do a great job at it, seeking federal and state grant funding opportunities. And we're projecting over $5 million in grants being awarded for next fiscal year. We're projecting using our capital fund balance of $7.5 million, $350,000 of Central Virginia Transportation Authority funding. Debt will be the majority of source of our capital projects, which will be $131.5 million. And then our Colonial Downs reserve, a little over $8 million in Colonial Down reserves funding our capital projects. Our Public Utility Fund, for the past several meetings, we've talked about the needed increase to our rates to fund the borrowing that we'll have the public hearing for a little later on in our agenda. So this is nothing new. We've already discussed the need to increase our water and sewer rates, and we're proposing a 4% increase to the rates. We're also proposing a 4% increase to our future utility users would be paying through connection fees and availability fees. That will not affect any current users of our utility system. The proposed utility budget is $9.5 million. It is a reduction from this current fiscal year's $10.1 million budget. The FY27 capital projects total $225,000, which is a significant reduction from this current year's just over $2 million improvement. And one thing that I want to stress is where we've included or proposed increases in utility rates and real estate rates, we have really scrubbed our budgets to find, as many say, opportunities for savings as we can. That's why in the previous slide you saw when we went through department budgets, there's actually a reduction. That's why I've spoken that there's numerous new employee requests that we've proposed that I'm not proposing to fund, and it's all to limit the impact on our real estate rate. And we've made some tough decisions in our public utility fund as well to limit the increases needed for our utility rates. This slide shows the proposed public utility capital improvement programs. The sewer field assessment is and repair is a much needed project. This is for the sewer field that serves our public utilities office building. That's a very old system. It's the original system back when it was a VDOT facility. We're starting to have issues. We want to do an assessment of that and have funding to make needed repairs to that system as well. The tank mixer, this is a project that we started several years ago to add tank mixers in all of our water tanks. And it's nothing more than a machine that circulates the water in our water tanks. It keeps the water from becoming stagnant, which limits the amount of times that we have to flush our fire hydrants, where we're just losing water and putting it on the ground. If we can move that water, keep it from going stagnant while it's in the tank, that's less water that basically we have to throw away. Our budget calendar and our process. As I've mentioned, we do have a budget retreat this Friday at 9 a.m. At the Providence Forge Recreation Center. That meeting will begin with a joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors and School Board. We're also planning to have a public hearing on tax rates and fees at your April 13th regular meeting. A public hearing on the overall budget at the May 11th regular meeting. And per state code, we have to wait at least 10 days to adopt the budget after the public hearing. So we're proposing that action be taken on the budget at your May 26th Board of Supervisors work session. That concludes my presentation on the 2027 fiscal year budget. Be happy to answer any questions, but I know we'll have a lot of discussion on Friday.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. Any of the board members have any questions, or you want to wait till Friday? Is that okay?
Thank you.
We'll take it up at our budget retreat.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you.
for his position request, they only need the 2.2 for next fiscal year. The ongoing year, we're going to need.
Any chance I give 5 minutes of your time before you leave tonight?
Before I leave? Yeah. Can you give me 5 minutes?
Oh, yeah, no rush now. I just wanted to
Yeah. Let's do it from there. I wasn't sure. I think we just said that. Yeah. But low down.
Yeah, well, just because of I know we pushed on the finance on the CIP stuff, so I wanted to make sure that leave us.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I'll make that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Hey, Ren, how you doing? Good to see you. Yes, we did. Yeah.
You going?
Hey, how you doing? Pretty good. Pretty good.
That's all.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just beginning. I'm sure the paper's going to beat me up. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
2 years ago, it went up 38.5%.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Guess what it went up 2 years later? Another 50%.
Oh, my.
So mine is going from, that's what I was like.
80%?
83.9% in a matter of 2 years.
Oh, my gosh. That's huge. Yeah.
I got that today and I looked it up. Wow.
How are you, sir?
Wow.
And
Doing well?
real question is, if you put it on the market today, do you really think you could get that for it? I don't know.
Three new building inspection.
Uh-huh.
Right now, that's what they got.
Oh, okay.
Didn't sell.
Mm.
Didn't sell. Had people got it. I think so.
Uh-huh.
So, can you really get
Right.
I think they had some of these deals there. More like sports complex and an athletic building.
Yeah.
We're partners with Neil Bingo.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that opening. Yeah. Yeah.
They're just for a crown on that.
Oh, the sports complex?
No.
The administration building. Okay.
Sports complex.
That should be pretty far in the way. Yeah.
It's close to. They just had somebody spend some money. What are we gonna get off?
Well, I tell you, I mean, I got twins that are into travel basketball. And we spend a lot of time in Henrico at their new sports complex. It's going to be used. It's definitely going to be used. Yeah.
They'll be hotels.
Oh, yeah. All right. Good to see you. All right.
First graduates? Yeah.
Oh, what?
That was a great event. Well, he was going to speak 15 minutes. So much you got to talk about. But it was interesting information.
I'll call our business meeting back into order. We have several public hearings. The first one is the public hearing, Water and Sewer Revenue Bonds, Series 2026, Resolution R-13-26. Mr. Bosch from Sands Anderson.
From Davenport here as well. So the resolution that's before you tonight and the public hearing to be considered is this issuance of water and sewer revenue bonds. This is a series of projects that, this came before you guys last year for a similar VRA pool bond issue. We've got a number of projects. Public Works and Finance have been working very hard to kind of narrow these projects down to kind of get them to just the essential projects. The public hearing amount was a total of up to $25 million. And so that's like the outer bounds of kind of the project scope that we've been talking about. I think in the last couple of weeks, and really for the last 6 months, has been talking about kind of narrowing all that kind of stuff down. So I think there's an actual proceeds requested number that'll be considerably less than that. But that's the number that we have in there for the public hearing and for the resolution. The borrowing, like I said, is structured the same as all the Virginia Resources Authority financings that the county has done for these sorts of projects. You have an existing kind of indenture structure that'll be issued under, but it's also going through the VRA pool. So they have a set of documents, loan requirements. We've satisfied all that stuff. We have a term sheet from them that has terms that kind of match what everybody has expected. And so the public hearing, again, is to approve this. The issuance is to be, VRA will price their bonds late in April, I believe, and so then the funds will be enhanced to the county sometime in May. But happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Does any board members have any questions or? Okay, is anyone signed up to speak?
No.
All right, so I'll close the public hearing. Any other comments? I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I move to adopt Resolution R-13-26, authorizing the issuance and sale of up to $25 million principal amount of a water and sewer revenue bonds and providing for the form, details, and payment thereof.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Next public hearing is hard servicing 1.4 miles of Clark Road in New Kent County. Our administrator from VDOT, Philip Frazier.
Okay, good evening again. Philip Frazier with VDOT. So if you remember, on a yearly basis, the board adopts the secondary six-year plan. Last year, the board adopted a secondary six-year plan that included a rural rustic project hard surfacing Clark Road. So we ran into some concerns as we went through the development process last summer. It slightly delayed us doing the surface treatment of the road. And so what I thought would be a good idea is to come back to you guys tonight and present to you in public hearing forum our intentions and the scope of the project, the new budget, a couple different things, and leave it there. So with that, I will start. Okay, so what is a rural rustic road, or what is the program? This comes straight out of the Code of Virginia, 33.2-332. For a highway or highway segment so designated, improvements shall utilize a paved surface width based on reduced and flexible standards that leave trees, vegetation, side slopes, and open drainage abutting the highway undisturbed to the maximum extent possible without compromising public safety. So why do we do this? What it allows us to do is take an existing dirt road or gravel road and hard surface it with making minimum improvements to the roadway geometry and the roadway width. So many of our rural rustic roads do not meet current minimum VDOT design standards. This is a way that we can make some improvements without bringing it to those standards. Why? It's important for us as a maintenance outfit to hard surface a road because it reduces some of the issues with dust. We do not have to bring a motor grader out on a regular basis when it rains and reshape it, reestablish the crown. Oftentimes when it rains, it will push stone into the ditches and make them non-functional. So we're constantly replacing that. We're pulling that stone back out of the ditch. Sometimes we have to bring in new stone. So there's kind of a continuous maintenance effort that goes along with maintaining these dirt roads. A hard surface road still requires maintenance, but not as often. One of the other things that we can do is during snow operations, we can actually plow a surface treated road. So we cannot plow a dirt road. You can imagine if you put a plow down, you can likely get into the stone and pull it up, and now you get into dirt, which makes the road turn into kind of a quagmire. It gets mucky and muddy. We actually experienced that anyways this year with the amount of snow and ice that we received that melted over a few weeks. So those are some of the benefits to a rural rustic. So Clark Road was adopted, Route 678, from 249 all the way to the end of state maintenance, which was about 1.9 miles. That included Clark Road and Slatersville Road. They were designated a rural rustic in 2025. The unpaved road must already be in the state system. These are some of the requirements of the program. The ideal roads for the rural rustic program are roads that do not require improvements. Candidate roads are paved within the existing right-of-way or prescriptive easement. In this case, Clark Road has a 30-foot prescriptive easement that was established per the Byrd Act of 1932. Routine maintenance work such as replacing pipe, trimming trees, and reestablishing ditches are generally completed prior to the paving. So what is the general scope? Again, that's hard surfacing the existing gravel road. We talked about that earlier. Surface treatment, I think I have a picture in a couple slides that shows that process. Trim the vegetation, reestablish those ditches, pipe replacement, sign improvement. I also have some pictures about some sign improvements that we typically perform a speed study or safety analysis of the road after we hard surface it. We actually did that prior to we actually did that within the last couple months, so we have some recommended improvements regardless of the outcome of Clark Road. The original scope included, like I said, from 249 all the way to the end of state maintenance. The proposed revision to that scope is actually, it picks up at the intersection of Stage and Slatersville and Clark Road and goes to the end of state maintenance. So now that segment is about 1.35 miles. That's why in your packet you'll see 1.4 and on our slide 1.3. That also reduced the cost estimate of the project. This is the current project location. This is a chip seal surface treatment operation. Again, like I showed you earlier, what you do is you actually put liquid asphalt down and then you apply a stone, number 8 and number 9 stone to that, and then you roll it with a roller. And what we would do on Clark Road is do a double shot. So really that's doing this application twice. Speed. So the Code of Virginia states that the maximum speed limit on any highway designated a rural rustic road shall be 35 miles per hour. We performed a study to ensure that 35 miles per hour would be appropriate if we were to do the rural rustic, but also what's the appropriate speed limit in its current condition, and that was determined to be 25 miles per hour. So we will be posting Clark Road at 25 miles per hour in short order. We still have to get local law enforcement and state law enforcement concurrence with that proposal. I wouldn't expect to get any pushback on those two items. We also have some curb warning signs that we will be installing. This is where the speed limit signs are recommended to be installed. There is a curve along Clark Road where this set of warning signs is recommended for installation. Okay, so I wanted to throw in here just a quick nugget about the Rural Addition program. It's a little bit different. This is a separate program from the Rural Rustic Road program. This is when you bring a private road into the state system with minimum roadway improvements, but it does have certain specific standards that a private road would have to meet for that adoption into the state system. It's based on traffic volume to go over the geometry. You have to have fee simple right-of-way, dedicated easements. The right-of-way has to be unencumbered with utility placement. And then you have to identify funding. So we don't typically use state funding for these types of projects. I bring that up because I know that there is a piece of Clark Road that is outside of the VDOT state maintained section. So I figure folks might be interested. So with that, that is the end of my presentation. I'll be happy to take any questions. I will also note, sorry, cut you off after I ask for questions.
Okay.
I will note that we will be going through the secondary 6-year plan program again. We will be having another public hearing in the next couple months to present what the new secondary 6-year plan is, and the board will have an opportunity to adopt the new 2020, I think it's fiscal year 2027 secondary 6-year plan. So, now questions.
Thank you. Are any questions, or you want to? Okay. We'll wait. Okay. At this time, I'll open up the public hearing. Is anyone signed up? Thank you. All right. We have 3 people have signed up. Paul Clark.
Good evening. I'm Paul Clark, and I'd like to speak on behalf of Clark Road and the resurfacing of it. I want to thank Mr. Frazier for the snow plowing work that was done exceptionally well, for a gravel road especially, but also for the crowning and the ditching work that's been done up to date. We, as a family, I'm 6th generation in the land and family farm that is part of Clark Road, and I take pride in the area. Would like to see the road left as a gravel road in order to preserve some of that rural character. The safety concern of the paving with the curves and the potential increased traffic from citizens on the other side of the private road that would cut through there after it's paved would most likely increase. We have since gone through the process of getting a group of people petition that were opposed to paving the road, which has 19 signatures on it, which is well over 3/4 of the people that are on the road as landowners or residents. And there are roughly 34 tax parcels that are incorporated in this road, 26 of them which are opposed to the paving of it. That's where we would propose to the Board of Supervisors and VDOT to take these funds and use it for ditching and crowning and maintenance of the road versus the actual paving portion of it. So that's our thoughts on it from the Clark family and the farm. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Patrick Clark.
So I'm Patrick Clark. Live at 6015 Peace Road, Mechanicsville. I'm strongly opposed to paving the Clark Road. We farm on the road, and I move wide equipment on a single lane road frequently. And it would be extremely dangerous for the equipment and the operator of the vehicles, the oncoming traffic. It's a 1-lane road and it's very narrow. And on another note, the historical part of the farm, it's 8 Century Farms in New Kent County, 2 of them being on Clark Road. And I think paving would take away from the rural historic part of the landscape of the area. And I spoke to many residents that's lived in the county and used Clark Road, elderly people that's used Clark Road all their life. And they said, as of today, Clark Road is in better shape than it has ever been, and it's wider than it's ever been. So hopefully y'all will take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Stanley Clark.
Thank you for hearing me. Not a public speaker, but farm down there on Clark Road, and not to reiterate what's already been said, but I strongly feel like by paving Clark Road would increase and entice people to travel at a higher rate of speed. By human nature, I think a person would just drive faster on a smooth road than they would a gravel road. And the safety there is my huge concern about paving Clark Road. I prefer it not to be paved. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right, I will close the public hearing.
There's several other Clark Road residents here. Did they not want to speak on
No,
the?
I can go by what's on the sign. Okay. But did anybody else want to sign up?
There is one more person that didn't get to sign up. Two more people. We actually live on the road.
Ma'am, you have to come up. Can you come up to the,
Go ahead.
or can someone take her the microphone maybe? Oh, he wants to talk. You want to talk? Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Sir,
sorry, I didn't sign up.
all
I'm
right,
sorry I
sir,
didn't
can you
do that.
state your
but,
name and your address?
Yeah, my name is Billy Hott, and I live on 13300 Clark Road. And
What's
after
your
the
last
board,
name, sir?
I'm sorry, say
What's your last name?
Hott,
Spell it.
H-O-T-T. Yeah, like the weather with an extra T.
It's a great name to have. All right, thank you, sir.
After the board voted on the hard surfacing last year, I spoke with Miss Pearson, and she told me that she brought up about the safety concerns on this road. But she was more concerned about the emergency vehicles having a problem on this road. So she, of course, voted for it. I'm not sure if any of y'all have been down Clark Road recently, but VDOT finally, again, pulled the ditches, replaced the culverts, and graded the road. This should have been done a long time ago and would have prevented us from even discussing any of this hard surfacing work. If an emergency vehicle has any problems now on the road, it shouldn't be any problem. The road is in good shape. But there is still a safety concern. According to the Rustic Rural Road Program manual, it states that the residency administrator will consult with other technical experts as deemed appropriate to evaluate the roadway. I'm not sure if any of the experts were consulted or even went down this 1.6-mile stretch of road, but it does have 5 curves and 4 hills and can be very dangerous. Even with being a dirt and gravel road, there have been a couple of incidences. Once someone ran off the road into a bank. Another was going down one of the curves actually before he get to my house, eventually going too fast and hit my fence. No telling what will happen if it is hard surfaced. We have a lot of foot traffic, bike traffic, horse traffic, and even farm traffic, tractor traffic on this portion of the road. Keeping it dirt and gravel will keep the speed down and hopefully keep the car traffic down. The Rural Rustic Road Program manual also states that the road must be predominantly for local traffic. The local nature of the road means that most motorists using the road have traveled it before or are familiar with its features. Does that mean if someone is not familiar with the road that they should stay off of it? What if I have guests coming to visit me for the first time? Should I tell them to forget it since they are not familiar with the road? I sure hope not. When I moved on Clark Road in 1977, that same year I got my first and only full-time job at Channel 12 in Richmond. I remember my first review. My supervisor told me that I chose where to live, and I needed to be there. I also chose to live on a dirt and gravel road, and so did my neighbors. And it wasn't until when VDOT fell down on the job and keeping our rural roads up to par did a couple of my neighbors become vocal. Now that a portion of Clark Road is up to par, it would be more beneficial if the county would put more emphasis in getting the rest of Clark Road up to standard so that the state can maintain it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Can you state your name and your address, please?
Yes, sir. Tom Thorpe.
What?
Tom Thorpe, Thorpe. I live at 12901 Clark Road. I didn't really come prepared, but I do have a couple statements. So last year when we met, the people that came were the people that lived on Clark Road. So I'd never heard 26 people before. I'm aware of about 7 or 8 families that live on Clark Road. And those are the people that came here. They asked us to raise our hands if we were for or against it. And by a fairly good margin, we were for it. Frankly, I've only been there 2 years, but last time I checked, being owner meant I had as much say as anybody, whether you've been there 30, 40 years. So my concern with the road is really I've been fighting the potholes, the mud, the dust. You know, if you get off in the corner when it's wet, you can slide down into the ditches. Yeah, people do sometimes go fast down there. I'm not sure how they do it because there are some really significant turns and hills that if you're going too fast, you could cause a problem. Could you do it on asphalt? I assume you could, but people will do it no matter what you put for a speed limit. They'll probably speed anyway. Road's not that wide, so you have to go slower just to get past each other. And I think that is it. Other than that, I'm for it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone? Jeez. Can you state your name and your address, please?
Yeah, Jay Berryman, 13,001 Clark Road.
And spell your last name.
Berryman.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, over the past 23 years that we've been on Clark Road, the road has definitely not been kept up to standard. It's washed out during any major storm, become impassable. And over the past few years, VDOT's been kind of working on it, putting pipes in and stuff to make it better. The thing is, I concur with our supervisor. It'd be a lot better for emergency equipment to come through and to pick one of us up if we need to go to the hospital. With the conditions on the road, which could deteriorate at any moment with it not being paved due to weather conditions, the emergency equipment may not be able to get up to us. Also, the road becomes slick and sometimes it's very hard to pass through. Have to bring my 4-wheel drive truck through to get through. And of course, the dust and dirt is another thing that we have a problem with. But also, this is beneficial to VDOT because they're not having to spend as much money in maintenance over time. So this frees up their equipment, their people, and their budget. So that's a big deal. This is a financial move that's in a positive direction for VDOT. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is that the last word?
I'd like to speak.
John Stump?
Yep.
What's your address, sir?
My name is John Stump. I'm at 12750 Clark Road. Lenexa, Virginia, 23089. I've been a resident on Clark Road now. I built the house 24 years ago. I've seen it all, the road. One of your past supervisors, Ms. Patricia Page, we spoke numerous times to get VDOT in there to fix my road. I'm on the end of the road. I traveled the whole 1.4 miles. You know, I respect my neighbors, the history of the road, the farmers. They don't live here. They don't deal with the road daily like I do, sometimes 2 and 3 times. Past few years, I was out the road 3 or 4 times a day. You go over across the interstate from the road. It used to be Mount Pleasant Road, if anybody doesn't know that. Interstate cut the county in half. You go Good Hope Road, you can hit Mount Pleasant Road. You go 3 miles on a paved road without one house until last fall they built a house half a mile in. The Clark family has a huge piece of property where they farm. They take the same equipment over there on that paved road that they're going to take on the dirt road. And that road, I've traveled that a lot. It's a shortcut to Brickshire. If you know, everybody knows the history of it. It used to be a dirt road. It goes all the way to Windsor Shades on Route 60. But Clark Road, you know, there's only about, everybody's in the room now that lives on Clark Road. These folks don't even live on the road. They don't travel it daily like we do. I'm a member of a car wash because I got to get my car washed regularly for dust. And the people that live next door, like I don't understand, they get dust into their house. It's, you know, it's a nuisance. I met some great employees of the VDOT group. A young lady, the last couple of weeks ago, I kept seeing her back and forth because I walk the road daily. I get my 9,000 to 10,000 steps in every day. I walk the whole road. I'm picking up trash. I even went in and patched about 30, maybe 3 dozen potholes with gravel. I took 7 buckets of gravel 2 different times to fill in the hole. They just made a significant timber removal in those big trucks. The last year when VDOT shaped the road is solid as this desk in the concrete. I mean, I walk with a walking stick. The road is solid. It's the best I've ever seen it in my 24 years there. But there's been times when you couldn't even hardly get by the road for washouts. And that they did a significant amount of study and effort by the past Board of Supervisor member, Ms. Page, and we finally got it on to do it. We had a meeting last year, and I thought this was a done deal. But obviously, some people don't feel like it's a done deal. But I would appreciate the board members' support for this project, and I appreciate all the work that VDOT has done, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you, Mr. Stump. And if that's the last one who signed up or didn't sign up, I'll go ahead and close the.
I want to speak one more thing. I do have some pictures stating the condition of the road previous and after their work. If anybody cares to see the condition of the road right now, it's pretty good shape. It can be maintained with ground and ditches as it is without that. But anybody would care to see them, I would take a look at it.
I was on the road today, so.
Post and after the work that's been done, show this addition of ditches and so on.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, can I ask Mr. Frazier a question or
Sure,
two?
sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Frazier, if the weather gets bad, is the road going to stay the same way it is now, or doesn't the chip and seal ensure that it's going to stay in that position?
So
or
I
in that condition? Yeah.
I will say this, that a chip seal is more durable than stone.
So a heavy rainstorm can absolutely kind of cut gullies and divots into a stone surface. I'm not going to say that any kind of roadway surface is, could not be impacted by rain or some type of weather or heavy vehicles. But I will say that surface treatment is much more durable than stone.
And did I hear you say that snow removal will be much more feasible on a paved road than it is right now?
So our best practices for snow removal is to not plow surface treated road, to not plow gravel roads. We can plow surface treated roads. So we could actually put a truck with a snow plow on Clark Road and push.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from any of the board members?
Mr. Chair, I guess your surface treatment roads, Mr. Frazier, how do they handle, heavy equipment, heavy loads coming through there?
I'm sorry, during construction?
No, after construction. How will the road maintain? You've got a lot of farm and forestry stuff out that way with a lot of big trucks, every once in a while on there. How will your surface treatment hold up on that?
Yeah, so surface treatment is not going to be as durable as, say, asphalt, 3-4 inches of asphalt. What it is that tar application with a layer of stone over top of it. I could go back to the picture, but I think heavy equipment could cause damage to a surface treated road if it is subject to it continuously.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
Any other questions? I do. The three Mr. Clarks who spoke, am I correct that none of you live on Clark Road? Is that right?
I live on Clark Road.
You didn't speak, did you? I didn't hear you speak. The three guys that spoke, none of you live on Clark Road?
live on Clark Road, family farmers.
Okay.
Sixth generation general.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
We're down there regularly, like 3 or 4 days a week at least.
Right.
Not every day sometimes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Can I ask about the motion that's on here? Is this?
I was concerned about the motion.
Yeah, it says to adopt. I thought that Clark Road was a rural rustic road already.
No, Clark Road is not rural rustic right now. It's a gravel road, right?
So it was adopted last year. So I think.
So we're readopting or
Yes.
denying that?
I will also offer again that we will be going through the secondary 6-year plan adoption again in the next couple months. Schedule-wise let me back up, schedule-wise with the actual surface treatment of Clark Road. We were scheduled to do it last summer. We got delayed into the fall. So at that point, the department's recommendation was to delay the actual application of surface treatment on the road until the summer of 2027. That is when the conditions, the weather, the sun is most beneficial to helping cure a surface treated road. So we're still a couple months out before we would perform any type of construction. So what I'm saying about the secondary 6-year plan, if you want to maybe table this, then it could be adopted. We could go ahead and have the plan readopted for 2027, and the priorities for the secondary 6-year plan can be adopted at that time. Does that make sense? Whether Clark Road stays as the top priority, currently it is the top priority in New Kent's secondary 6-year plan. If you want to wait until the new adoption of the secondary 6-year plan to decide if it stays as the top priority or moves or is removed altogether, then I think that is the board's pleasure.
But why would we do that?
So let me ask a question.
Yes.
If since it's already a rural rustic road, if the board doesn't adopt this resolution, what happens?
Then the department moves forward.
Okay.
It is in the secondary 6-year plan as the top priority. This is an opportunity for, I guess, the board to amend that priority. Could also wait until.
So really, this resolution doesn't need to be adopted because it's already been adopted and you've approved it as a rural rustic road?
That is correct.
Ms. Inman, what were you saying?
We worked on this resolution because I believe what we're doing is removing Slaterville from the project, and we're maintaining Clark Road. So I believe the resolution just formally removes Slaterville from this project, but it reaffirms Clark Road will be continue to be a rural rustic. That was really the difference, and I believe that's what the resolution was reaffirming. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm confused, but let me ask you this question. If we adopt the motion to designate Route 678 Clark Road as a rural rustic road, does it stay a gravel road or will it be paved? Simple.
It will be surface treated.
That means paved.
We do not call it paved. I think paved implies that it's asphalt, but yes.
If you're going to pave it, it's
Correct.
not going to be gravel, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, so you're going to surface treat this whether we adopt this or not?
Currently, it is adopted
Right.
to be surface treated.
So-
Yes.
And we're taking Slatersville out is what this.
Slatersville is, yes. So it was originally adopted, as I showed in the estimate, 1.9 miles. There was a request to remove the Slatersville piece that came in July of 2025.
Mr. Chair, just question for County Attorney. Is there a cleaner way to do this that just removes the Slaterville portion? We don't have to redesignate something that's already designated?
Absolutely.
Could you advise us what that?
You can just amend this resolution to remove Slaterville as a rural rustic road.
I move that.
Could you, Mr. Hefty, could you repeat that motion?
I think what Ms. Watkins is saying is that the new resolution removes that Slaterville Road.
I apologize if I created this confusion.
That's okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
should we do a motion?
That's up to you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt Resolution R-12-26 designating State Road 678 Clark Road as a rural rustic road. That's all I gotta say.
No.
Oh, and which means
You have to
we're
remove-
taking Slaterville Road out of the rural rustic road.
Right. You have
process.
two options. One is to simply remove Slatersville Road as a rural rustic road because Clark Road is already designated. in a
That's what
previous
this resolution does, though.
Yeah, but
It-
you can amend the resolution to simply take out Slatersville Road as a rural rustic road.
As I said.
I move that we do what Mr. Hefty said and adopt a resolution that removes Slaterville Road as a rural rustic road.
Okay. Does that satisfy you, Mr. Fraser?
That does.
Okay.
Thank you all who are all involved. Thank you. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Next is the public hearing resolution R-11-26 appropriation $2,112,000 in Commonwealth Development Opportunity Fund revenue. Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The resolution you have before you tonight is to amend the FY26 budget by $2.112 million for revenues received from the Virginia Economic Development Partnership from the Commonwealth Development Opportunity Fund for a performance agreement with the businesses within the county. Back in February of 2022, you authorized the county administrator to enter an agreement with the state in relation to this grant. So this is the culmination of that. The businesses met their incentives for capital improvement as well as jobs created within the county. So we expect those funds to come in shortly. This is no local money on this one. This is 100% stateside. There is a local incentive that is already appropriated within the budget that we have right now. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Tripp. Any comments you want to open up? What? What do I do? I'll open up the public hearing. Did anyone sign up? No. All right, then I'll close the public hearing. We've been here a while. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
This is just kind of an administrative thing.
Yes, ma'am. So this is a per the grant agreement, the state sends the money to us, and then we send the money to the business.
But it is in the budget for next year.
The portion of the local grant that is payable for the next 10 years is in the budget for next year, and then the portion that is the local portion that matches this for the jobs and capital improvement is in the current FY26 budget. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt Resolution R-11-26, amending the fiscal year 26 New Kent County budget by appropriating $2,112,000 in Commonwealth's Development Opportunity Fund revenue received from the Virginia Economic Development Partnership Authority to the Capital Fund.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have the public hearing proposed sale of a .34 acre county-owned parcel located at 3402 Ridge Road, Quinton, Virginia. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Before you, you have Resolution R-10-26. Again, it is for the sale of a former well lot consisting of .34 acres located at 3402 Ridge Road, Quinton, Virginia. This item was discussed at our last meeting, and as a result of that discussion, in the resolution you'll see several conditions that are proposed to be included with the sale. One is the purchaser shall consolidate the well lot into the existing parcel. The purchaser shall be responsible for all surveys, titles, and closing costs. There shall be no further subdivision of the property, and the property shall be transferred by a quitclaim deed. The proposed purchase price that was submitted by Mr. and Mrs. Alcee R. Cave was $2,500.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. I'll open up the public hearing. Has anyone signed up? Hello? No. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. It's okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is there a timetable on the consolidation of the lot? I know that was one concern.
The way that we've done this in the past, this is a similar requirement that we have proposed for other properties. We did not close until they presented a plat showing the consolidation.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt Resolution R-10-26 approving the sale of surplus real property identified as tax map parcel 19-B1-5JD-A.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Next is a public hearing for Giving Hope Lawn Management Incorporated lease. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The property in question is located at 5430 New Kent Highway. This is property that the county purchased in the fall of 2025 to be the new location of Fire Station Number 2. We don't anticipate beginning construction until after July of this year, which begins the next fiscal year. When we purchased the property, Giving Hope Lawn Management was leasing to the previous owner. I am proposing that we continue to lease, but move to a month-to-month lease with a 30-day termination clause to allow the business time to find another location, which they are negotiating with the property located in New Kent County. The proposed lease amount is $1,000 a month. That is the same amount that they were paying the previous landowner.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. Are there any comments? I'll open the public hearing. No one signed up. I'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to authorize the county administrator to execute the proposed lease with Giving Hope Lawn Management, Inc., in a form approved by the county attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Evelyn. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. All right, that wraps up the public hearings. Next is the elected officials report. Ms. Stewart?
One brief thing, March 19th at 6 o'clock, I'll be having a District 5 Town Hall at Godier Vineyards Event Center. Mr. Hathaway, Mr. Aragi, and Ms. Hurt from both Planning and Economic Development will be there. So if you're in District 5 and you have feelings about anything going on, please come and join us. Again, March 19th at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Ms. Pearson?
Ditto what Ms. Stewart said, but at a different location for District 3, at the New Kent Middle School on Thursday, March 26th at 6 o'clock in the auditorium at the New Kent Middle School. Also, just a reminder that the Animal Shelter grand opening is this Friday, March 13th at 3 o'clock at the new J. Joseph McLaughlin Animal Shelter on Airport Road. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Mr. Moyer?
Yes, I have my town hall March 17th, but 9 a.m. in the morning at Journey Church's coffee shop. And also, I think people should know that if you're coming to the animal shelter ribbon cutting, you're going to be parking at Pine Fork Park and being shuttled to the animal shelter because there's not enough parking spaces at the shelter. So everybody knows that go to Pine Fork Park, get the shuttle, and then come over to the animal shelter.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Mr. Evelyn?
No, sir, I don't have anything. Oh, actually, instead of me making a phone call, I noticed the signs, like power washing signs and everything going all up over the county again. I think it's something maybe we get staff to look at again. Some things popping up, and I know springtime's coming, and we're going to start seeing more of those. So if we could start enforcing that again before it gets out of hand. Josh knows. Okay. He heard me.
All right, I don't have anything to report this time. Do we have any staff reports, Mr. Hathaway?
Yes, sir. Only like to announce Saturday, March 14th, we're looking forward to the 2026 Virginia Derby event. Gates will open at 10 a.m. and the first post is at 12 p.m. It was a packed event last year, and we're looking forward to another packed event.
Thank you, sir. Anything else? All right, we'll go to appointments. Appointments delegated by district. District.
I have one.
You have one.
Yes. I move to appoint Elissa Sandusky as District 2 representative to the Housing Advisory Committee.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Pearson. Ms. Stewart. Tom. I have none. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Appointments not delegated by district.
I have one, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I move to appoint Jimmy Hembry as an at-large representative to the Airport Advisory Commission to serve a 4-year term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2029. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move to appoint Nicholas Rice as a youth member of the New Kent County Youth Community Service Committee to serve a 1-year term ending December 31st, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Evelyn. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn? Aye. Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Appointments for regional boards and commissions. There are none. Nomination for Board of Equalization.
Mr. Chair, I have one. I move to nominate Pete Sweet for Circuit Court appointment as a member of the Board of Equalization to serve a term ending December 31st, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Is there any other business? The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held at 6 p.m. on Monday, April the 13th, 2026. And the next work session will be held at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, both in the boardroom of the County Administration Building. The board will also meet at 9 o'clock on Friday, March 13th, 2026, for a budget retreat at the Providence Forge Recreation Center, 9900 Carriage Road, Providence Forge, Virginia. Anyone want to make an adjournment?
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn.
Bless your heart. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. And I want to thank everyone who did come out tonight. We had quite a few people here this evening. It makes us feel great that, you know, we're here. We're trying to get you some information so that you can make educated decisions. And we appreciate your attendance tonight. So thank you all for being here. Thank you.